Hey, hello everyone. I'm back. I was traveling. I was in France at the Annecy Animation Film Festival, presenting Safe Mode to an audience of 1,000 people, and along with several other short films. And so now I'm back here working on Safe Mode episode 6, which is going to be over 10 minutes long and going to have the craziest visuals out of everything so far I've ever made, probably. Been working on this one for seems like forever, so it's going to be worth it though. I learned a lot of stuff. It took me a while to, I was learning like 3D software, basically. So I made a couple of like YouTube shorts about it if you want to check out, kind of like the work in progress, that sort of thing. Basically, I have a whole bunch of shots I need to do, and I usually do like a quick render in 3D, and then like all this stuff in here, I could have just like made materials for it in Cinema 4D, but it would just take me forever. Because I just a static shot, I'm just gonna draw over it. Hey Theola, what's going on, everyone? Nemo Bush statue, hello. Yeah, so yeah, basically the Annecy Animation Film Festival was a lot of fun. Annecy is like a really beautiful little town south of Geneva, and it's in France though. Oh, hold on. So I saw a whole bunch of movies there, animated movies. Saw one movie called Sirocco. I forget the subtitle name of it, but it's basically, it's kind of like Spirited Away. Honestly, I thought it was a little too inspired by Spirited Away, a little too much. But there's a few characters in there I really liked. Let's see if I can look up the name of the movie so you guys know what I'm talking about. Oh. Over here. Okay. It's called Sirocco and the Kingdom of Air Streams. I don't think it's like not out yet. I don't know even where you can watch that, but I saw that at the festival. What else did I see? I saw this movie called 1994 Art School, something like that. It's like a Chinese film, which was cool. But you know, the thing is, it had so much dialogue in it, and it's like Chinese, so like you're just constantly reading subtitles the whole time, which is not really a fun thing to do when you're watching an animated movie. I feel like animated movies are one of those movies where it's okay to watch like the dubbed version of it, because like you're trying to like watch it for the visuals, and if you're just like reading text the whole time, it's like it's not really that fun, you know. Hey Noli. Yeah, so anyways, I'm I'm just gonna be working on this like one shot today, and I have to color it in and stuff, basically. I don't really know how long it's going to take me to do, but... Anyways, I'm getting a new computer soon, so I might be able to do some live streams in the future that show how I work in 3D, because I can't really do live streams when I'm doing that stuff, because the computer is barely able to handle live streaming when I'm just drawing, so that should be kind of interesting, I guess. Real mirror, thank you. Yeah, I'm getting a Mac Studio computer. Thing is, like, we have Windows computers here too, and they're totally fine for doing stuff. I just prefer to use Macs for, I find it just easier to work with. Oh, I also have a sponsored video coming out soon too, actually. I don't know when exactly, I'm still waiting on like one thing from them, but it's 99.9% finished. Basically, I made a 7-minute animation with Gulab Jamun and Jimmy Alfonso and Barry and Hans, and even Mischief shows up for a little bit. So that's gonna be... I can't wait to release that, actually. Maybe in a month, I don't know. Hopefully in a couple weeks, we'll see. It's a sponsored video, but it's basically just like a animation. It's not like an ad. Well, it is an ad, but it's not like a... It's not like a... You know what I mean? I don't know how to explain it. It's just a weird video. That's why the animations have been coming out kind of slowly this year, is because I've been working on that massive sponsored video, and also this next episode of Safe Mode, which is like really ambitious compared to the last episode. Any thoughts on open source software? I've been using Shotcut in GIMP. They are nowhere close as seamless as Adobe. Just don't have the money right now. Yeah, man. I mean, I feel like the gap was like a lot closer maybe 10 years ago between Photoshop and GIMP, but now Photoshop has just so many features now that are, I don't think it's really that comparable anymore. GIMP is great because it's free. But if you're looking for like a cheap, like Photoshop kind of software, you maybe check out Procreate, or there's Procreate, and then there's another one called Affinity Designer or something like that. They don't have like a timeline tool like I'm using in Photoshop, unfortunately, which if they did would be incredible. But basically, you only have to pay for them once, and then you have it forever, and they're really capable software, as opposed to Photoshop, which you have to pay monthly for. So. Let me know if the music's like too quiet or whatever, or too loud. Do you think safe mode was so popular because people deep down desire a safe mode for their reality? I think, well, one of the reasons why I called it safe mode and what the story is about is because I feel like people are very bubble wrapped these days. Pretty much everything, you know, it was inspired by the COVID lockdowns and just like people being offended by like the tiniest things or not having a thick skin anymore. It just it feels like we're really living in a safe mode. So that's kind of why I chose the name and the topic. I just feel like it's a good kind of metaphorical allegory to the times we're living in right now. McFellin t-shirt, please. You did the McDriven, respect to the OGs, but the McFellin storyline is one of your best. Hey, Jay Jackson, appreciate that, man. I'll see what I can do. Will you use voice AI for future video? Vermont Curry. Well, actually, I mean, I was one of the first people to actually ever do that. Chimney Alfonso, which is one of my characters, is a completely AI-generated voice. AI... One of the first in the sense that his voice was truly an AI-generated voice and not just a text-to-speech program like Microsoft Sam or whatever. You can... And I was experimenting with that stuff years ago. Like when I released the first Chimney Alfonso video, that was like maybe 3 years ago. And I think he's like the only character I use besides like the fish in that same kind of like universe where it's AI-generated. I do prefer to just use like actual humans because the technology is still kind of rough, and it's just, you get better quality audio and stuff. You know, you can't really direct a computer to act. Though, you know, hiring voice actors and paying them properly can be expensive sometimes. So if I'm doing kind of like a throwaway video, sometimes I'll just use like one of those kind of voices, because I can't really afford to pay like $300, $400 just for a 30-second meme video, you know what I mean? And yeah, the promo video I did is for War Thunder, so that's yeah. Theola, I don't use a standing desk. It might be pretty good to have one, but no, I don't have one. I got too much like shit on my desk. I got speakers and sound mixers and my synth and stuff. So it would just kind of, all the cables would just kind of get caught on it. How far into making save mode did you decide to let Smear have some goofy moments? Let's see. Well, I guess episode 2 is when it really started. It's not even that later. I mean, Lana just takes him down a peg, you know. I think, Smear's kind of like a complicated character because he's thoughtful, yet kind of full of himself, and, I don't know, sometimes he takes himself too seriously, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, you're gonna learn more about Smear in this next episode. I want my characters to kind of be a little bit more flawed than I've been kind of portraying them previously. Move this thing up because I'm kind of crouching. Nice to see you're a fan of Akira Yamaoka. What's your favorite Silent Hill soundtrack? I think the second one is my favorite, actually. The first one was it's kind of rough. Well, it's not rough, but it's like, I feel like when the second one was made, he kind of really, I don't know what I'm looking for. It kind of came together more in the second one. Do you think creating valuable content will become more difficult looking into what the world prefers to consume nowadays? I don't think so, man. If anything, like, I think it's just gonna make my stuff stand out more, you know? I feel like the kind of barometer for what quality has been lowered, though, significantly. And so it almost seems like I don't really have to do much effort in order to make something good, because, like, the stuff that Hollywood's been pumping out is just trash. With some few exceptions. I don't know, the studios seem very risk adverse these days, and they're just, I don't know what their deal is. They're risk adverse, yet at the same time they're spending like $100 million on something, and they have to basically make $200 million in order for it to break even. And I know for certain you can make some really good stuff for like 3% of that. I don't know. The problem is streaming has kind of decimated movie sales, and which means that only the top 2% basically are able to make a significant amount of money, it seems, and so they're always just doing these very safe kind of movies these days. I don't know how, like, there's a few exceptions. I'm looking forward to seeing Oppenheimer. I don't know anything about this Barbie movie other than looks weird. And also, Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise looks like it's gonna be pretty good. So they're still making good movies. I think it's just, I don't know, it just seems a lot like there's not a lot of like kind of just mid-budget low-key thrillers anymore, or like psychological dramas that don't involve like monsters and stuff, or I don't know. What advice would you give to a student who is looking to learn animation? Let's go try to move this. depends on what you're trying to do, because I have a completely different career path than most animators. Like, YouTube animation is kind of like a different thing from if you were to get a job in a studio like Titmouse or something like that. So my advice really is only applicable to YouTube and that sort of thing, really. But if I were to give you one piece of advice is, well, I always say this for everything, basically, but whatever you make, you have to really look at it critically and try to find something about it that needs to be improved. Whether or not it's visuals, but most likely it's the story, you know, or... And here's another piece of advice for animators. Your story and your message are 100 times more important than your skill as an animator. Because I've seen a lot of animations that are very well animated, but put me to sleep. And that's, you know, I've gone to many film festivals, and I feel like that seems to be a universal thing that happens. A lot of these films get into festivals because of, you know, they're affiliated with the NFB or some sort of funding, or they have a, I don't know, some sort of academic reason that they're there, but they put me to sleep. And it's hard to, I don't know, it's hard for me to enjoy stuff like that. Because I find a lot of times the stories are... Here's the thing, with a lot of stories, animators tend to make... They assume that you're gonna care about something that's fucking boring. Like, I can't how many films I've seen where the story was about the animator's, like, uncle or something. And it's like, my uncle was, he was obsessed with numbers, and he wrote down numbers, and he did all his numbers and shit. Or it's like, my grandmother was, you know, she came in from Finland, whatever, and this is her life story, and she had pots and pans and did embroidery. And then they'll make like a whole 15-minute animation about that. Or like, you know, it's just kind of like that kind of thing, you know, and like, you can't just assume an audience is going to give a shit. You have to have a reason, like, you have to, even if you're making a film about, like, a real-life person, like someone that you knew, you have to give us a reason for us to root for them and care for them, like, early in the story. And, that's all I'm going to say about that, really. Just be reminded that, like, the actual, like, animation is... People go to animation festivals because they love animations, okay? But first and foremost, what you're making an animation about, what is the story? That's just so much more important. So don't worry so much about your technical skills. You know, I mean, you can always improve that, and it's what you're trying to say that's important. So I saw this movie called Triangle of Sadness recently. Did anyone see that? That felt like a pretty creative movie that came out recently. It wasn't Hollywood, though. It was like a European movie. It's about, like, a bunch of, like, rich people that go on a cruise, whatever, and the boat sinks. Pretty entertaining. need to look at a different shot from the series so I can remember what the colors were. Oh yeah, okay, so that's actually green on the inside here. Eagle Dude television. Yeah, man. Like, just keep making stuff. It doesn't really matter what you're making, because you know, when you're learning animation and stuff, it's more like a matter of quantity in terms, like you'll get better, like an exponential growth based on the amount of things that you make. So don't hold back, because and overthink it, you know what I mean? Just make whatever you want, like, without creatively stifling yourself. Do you think virtual/augmented reality will be the future, where people will hide, numb their real-life problems? Absolutely, man. Adrian, I think people are already doing that, you know? There's like a whole society of people that just live on the internet, and once these kind of like headsets and things and virtual worlds become better and like more prolific, and there's gonna be people just living vicariously through digital avatars. I know that 100%, because I mean, people are already doing that. And I think it might even get worse, where like that percentage of people might increase. As technology improves, the likelihood of someone falling into that kind of trap is greater. I think people already, you know, myself too, actually, I spend too much time thinking or caring about random bullshit that happens on the internet, like Twitter or whatever. Like, it's really like kind of meaningless, a lot of the stuff that happens online. Unfortunately, like, that's how I make a living these days, so I have to participate in it. But you know, you don't have to, really, if you can make a living without having to be aware of the internet and stuff. I think most people would be happier, because I don't feel like it's natural. This is all new stuff. It came like 20 years ago, you know? And we're not evolved for it. Nobody. What's it like writing the stories for your animations? Do you write it all at once? Do you make it up as you go? These days, I write it ahead of time. But usually I make the music before that, still sometimes. I make music first. And but then I used to just like go right into animation, but now I kind of try to figure out what exactly is happening. And the reason why I switched is because I still do animate a lot of stuff myself, but I work with a small team of like one other animator and Carolina too, so it's not really helpful for me to, like, how are they supposed to work on something if they don't know what they're doing, you know what I mean? So now I'm planning things out a lot more. Like the next episode was storyboarded, and not the whole episode, just the important part was storyboarded. Anyway, it's a different process from how I made Interface. Interface was just kind of me waking up every day and just drawing something. But after making Interface, I realized that I cannot make another animated project by myself because I would get burnt out to an extreme degree. So I have to work more traditionally, and it's actually made things a lot more smoother, less stressful for me too, because I have someone that can help me, and I'm not just, you know, struggling to figure out what I'm supposed to be drawing because there's like a plan, you know. Okay. Let's see here. There's supposed to be like a... I don't need to draw that. This is supposed to be the rear view mirror here. Savory, do you feel like you clearly see your art in your head before you draw it, or does it evolve from a more mushy idea to take the shape of while you draw? I pretty much have the full image just formed in my head, but sometimes when I'm drawing it, I'll just kind of move things around just slightly, just compositionally wise, so it looks better. That's about it, though. Acadia, hello. Slick Nick, I like how Henrik is super interesting character and didn't have a word to say. Didn't have to say a word, and keeping the plot hidden was super. Hey man, appreciate the comment, Slick Nick. Have you had the chance to read Unabomber Manifesto? I haven't like really read the full thing. I've read parts of it, but yeah. You know, it says some like things that make sense, but I think kind of people give him a little bit too much credit for basically just... I think the way technology is developing and society is a little bit more complicated than just being able to kind of reject it all. I feel like if we really want to evolve past being a single planetary species, we're going to have to make some tough decisions about the technology and stuff that we're developing. I also don't think he was quite as ingenious as people prescribe him to be, especially after learning about more of like the kind of shit he would do on his land. It's like hiding in the woods with a gun, like a sniper, and just like aiming it at children and stuff and swearing at them and that kind of shit. I think the guy was just kind of nuts. He seems like he had wasted potential, though, you know. Michael. Or Michelle. Or Mitchell? Can you tell me if the plush mushie will be coming back? People have been requesting this forever, and I might do him again in like a bigger kind of like size. But you know, honestly, my channel is like pretty big, but it's not like that big, you know? So for me to do like plushies, I have to basically sell a lot of them in order for it to be like profitable, whatever. And so that's why I don't, you know, also I've already done 2 plushies. I feel like that's a lot for a channel my size, but I will probably do, maybe I'll probably do, I don't know. I can't give you an answer. I know a lot of people have been asking for it, but... Okay, my steering wheel is... Oh, it's just black, orange, and... Yeah, and they did like wasn't he like part of some sort of university / CIA program where they like basically played all these messages in his head and stuff, and that's kind of what screwed him up. Basically, they took someone who was susceptible for that sort of... I mean, I feel like most people could be susceptible to it. You know, suggestion or whatever. And they just filled his head with nonsense. MK Ultra, yeah, that's what it was. How do you design the plushies? Basically, I draw them like from different angles, and then they make a prototype, and then they send the prototype. They take photos of it, and then I'll like request changes. I wonder if I can pull them up for you. Yeah, so with the bird, this was like the first version that they sent me, this one over here. And as you can see, his face is like too large. He doesn't have a chin or a body, really. And there was other problems with it too. So I basically take this image and I photoshopped it so that it looks how I wanted it to be, and they've eventually changed it. Yeah, I also wanted the wings to be a little bit larger, I think. So you can see how the wing wasn't quite large enough, and then now it's nice and big and flappy. Yeah, so the bird was pretty simple design, actually. It wasn't... The frog, however, went through multiple different... Let's see if I can... I don't know if I'm going to be able to find the frog plushie. Oh yeah, so basically, you know, I just sent them these drawings with measurements, the different Pantones for the colors of threads to use, like a front view. I didn't feel like I needed to do a side view for this one. And then, you know, like the very first version that they sent me was all fucked up. Like, look at his eyebrows, and then his eyes were too far apart, his mouth was looking weird and shit. His hands were kind of weird. So I made all these changes, and also had this awful tiger print on the back, whatever the hell that was. I think they like interpreted these lines here as like some sort of tiger print or whatever, but whatever. I got rid of that. So now the actual frog looks way better. You can see his face is correct. His eyebrows are nice and puffy. I wish they were a little bit puffier, but there was a limitation on what they could do. So. Slick Nick, yeah, I think you can buy the frog plushies now. I'm pretty certain they're good to go. I think I still got like 100 in stock, or maybe less than that, but... I don't think the MK Ultra stuff was a hallucination. I'm pretty certain that was like a real thing. I mean, I watched a documentary about it, and they talked about how, like, the people involved in the experiments and stuff. What is the least amount of time it took for you to make one of your shorter videos? The Pong video, I made the Pong video in an afternoon. And that's pretty apparent. I mean, it's like one drawing with like lines. Honestly, I could pump out videos if I wanted to. I could make an animation, 2 animations a week. But the problem with I can't do that is because I don't have like ideas that are funny and good for 30 seconds. That's the hardest part. Like, you know, I could just pump out crap animations, but, you know, if they're not, there's nothing about them that's distinct or unique, then I don't really see a point in doing it, so. Hi, Karen. What's up?
I have a cat story.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
What's that?
I was brushing Munchie, and she was enjoying it, but then I showed her the brush, and I was holding it like flat upwards so the bristles were up.
Yeah.
And she started scrubbing her face all over it.
Yeah. She does that.
Yeah, she
I do
likes
that all
it.
the time. Or,
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
She does it for me all the time.
Yeah.
And Nikki got so jealous he came over and sat on her.
Yeah, well, that's what happens.
That's it.
Okay. Yeah, the steering wheel is black, but I think I'm gonna make it gray just for this shot so you can actually see it. That's pretty funny, Abigail. Electric Kool-Aid acid test. No, I have not. Okay, getting closer to. Some of the things with this are kind of wrong, like the lines here. I don't like how they're going the wrong way on this side. That's just because it was done in 3D and I didn't align the texture correctly for that section. So I'm just going to... Basically, you don't notice it in a wide shot, but for close-ups like this, I'm going to just fix it. Comrade Cameron, thank you. Hello. Jtronic, thank you too. Mr. Amio, would you ever want to do a soundtrack for a Hollywood movie without being the director / writer? I would do that with some stipulations. Basically, the stipulations would be that if they don't use my music, I get to own the rights to it. Because I heard some stories about some composers that made the entire soundtrack for a film, and the producer or director decided they didn't want to use it. And I'm not going to put effort into something like that, you know, and have it not be released. So you gotta be careful with some of these companies, you know. These people throw around money like it's nothing, you know. Some Hollywood studios like, oh, we'll find a composer, pay them whatever it is for this, right? And then they decide not to use the music or something, and they just slap some other stuff on there instead. It's happened before, so you gotta be careful. Hey, the Minute Hour. Hey, man. Sorry I missed you in Montreal, dude. I was really looking forward to meeting you, but I guess next time. I think this is the second time it's happened. I came to Montreal twice, and last time I also wasn't in Montreal. We'll make it happen sometimes, though. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's see here. Random question: why is Mac better for creative? It's not. There's no objective reasoning as to why Mac is better. It's not. It's not. It's just a personal choice, really. I do know that with the latest version, like they just released these new Mac Studios, and they got these new chips, the M2 Ultra chips, and because they design their own chips now, it's super efficient. Like the memory write access is very good. You know, I could definitely just do the same thing on a PC, like a maxed out PC, you know, but I just like the way the operating system of the Mac is. And Carolina hates Mac computers, and so we got both of them in this place, but you know, I'd definitely save some money if I was using PCs only, that's for sure. But there's just certain things about the Macs that I just like, which I feel could be rectified in a PC if it had just changed certain things, like, you know, finding the last folder really quickly, or I don't know, there's a bunch of different little small things that kind of add up. You know. Do you think we live in a simulation and dreams are just snippets of the real world? I don't think we live like in a simulation. I feel like that word has made people think that we're like computer programs. I think maybe there is like something else that's connecting us into this world, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we're living in a simulation. I don't really know. Sorry. So what made you choose the name Umami? I chose it because I didn't really think too hard about it, but basically it was like meat flavor, you know? And this is a long time ago, back 2017, whatever. It was like a new word that people were using, and then it kind of like got really popular, like on all those cooking shows afterwards, or maybe around the same time. I don't know, I kind of sometimes I feel like maybe I could have chosen a different name because it's kind of hard to remember how to spell and stuff, especially with the spaces, but it doesn't really matter. I'm Umami now. Are you going to upload your brain piece to the mainframe where it releases in 30 years? No, no, I don't know, man. Probably not. But you know what I ever think about? You know, like when people die and you hear like they have these stories of them like reliving their childhood and stuff, like their whole life flashes through their, like they, like, you know how you can. I wonder, does that happen like in your brain while you're dying? Like, is that a thing? Or is it like some other ethereal world that you connect to after you die that like kind of plays it back? And it makes sense that it would be in your brain. So I'm wondering, like, the people who like die instantly and explode, like, you know, the people in the submarine, whatever, or like if someone had a shotgun blast to the face, like, do you experience that flashback of life? Or do you just not experience anything because your brain's not even like in pieces? You know what I mean? It's kind of a messed up thing to think about. That's something I wonder sometimes, you know? Do you have any wallpapers or desktops available? I do on the Patreon, but I'll admit I haven't updated it in like years. I've just been so busy with like everything, so I haven't really been bothering making desktop backgrounds. It's also because it's not quite the aspect ratio that I draw things, so I always have to like make it specifically for a background. Is the chat delayed for you? It's just I usually don't read it instantaneously, that's all. I'm kind of have to catch up. There's a lot of questions here. do you mean to invoke a sense of derealization and depersonalization in your work, and what is that significance for you? I don't mean to do it on purpose, I guess. I just feel like when you kind of cover the topics that I cover in my animations, that probably becomes apparent just from the subject matter.
Gym.
You going to the gym? Okay.
Bye.
I'll see you. Are you as upset as I am that Pilot Red Sun hasn't made anything new or new animations? It makes me upset too, man. But listen, like, people get burnt out on things creatively, and I respect that he just wanted to move on. It looks like, or maybe he is working on something big. I just hasn't told me anybody about it. I know that he's making music on his Pilot Red Sky channel, and he is drawing like visualizers for it, but I haven't seen anything animation-wise. I think the most complicated... Sorry, do you ever get sick of these theories? Like, the base reality is so boring, so people come up with these ideas to distract themselves. Yeah, well, I mean, listen, man, I really kind of find it just ridiculous when, like, Elon Musk or, what's his name? Who's that guy that, like, pretend he went to MIT and taught there, and then now he thinks he's, like, a mega genius or whatever, and he wears a suit to, like, legitimize himself? I forget his name. But they're always talking about how, like, oh, we're in a simulation or some I don't know, who fucking cares? You know what I mean? We're right here in this world as we can see it with our senses today. So focus on that, you know? I don't know. I find it... You're right. I do find it kind of a little bit like intellectual masturbation when you think about that kind of shit. You know, it's like, unless you're planning on like killing yourself and then like recording that information for science somehow, there's really nothing you can... There's no legitimate science based on researching like what happens after we die, you know? And I try to watch some documentaries and stuff about this stuff, and it always goes... They always just like get some crazy nut job that like talks about ghosts and stuff. It's never like a real scientific endeavor, it seems. It's always just some... I guess because, I don't know, like most real scientists are just kind of like, you know what, let's just focus on what we can focus on right now in this, you know. Honestly, experimenting on what happens after death is like... That's like what's that? It's like shit that, like, you know, experimental Nazis would do on people. Like, you can't... There's no ethical way to figure that information out. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. As much as I enjoy philosophy, I'd rather not worry about whether we're in a simulation or what religion is correct or whatever. Yeah, I mean... Religion specifically, I mean, I'm not anti-religious. I think it's important, but I don't think the answer is written in the Bible, you know? It's... or any Bible. The Quran or whatever. It's just, there are kind of all different interpretations of what we're trying to gather information from psychically or whatever. I just wish there was a more like objectively science-based kind of... You know, that's the thing though. All science, even like physics, it's gonna get there eventually. Like, the reason why they do experiments in like CERN or whatever. It's, yes, it's for, you know, figuring out whether or not an atom can split apart of it or whatever, but it's also because once you figure out how that stuff works, then you have a better understanding of how everything works. And the more you learn about our current environment that we're able to experience through our senses, the more you'll be able to figure out about what's next, or or what happens before and after death, or exactly what our existence is supposed to be, you know? Unit 451, yeah, that's what it is, yeah. Frank, you're right, man. You're right. It's the people that are on the show that really matter. I mean, no, he does nothing wrong by presenting those people. It's just I find that there's something questionable about the way he presents himself, and it kind of rubs me the wrong way a little bit. If he was just like some guy that's like into this stuff, that's fine. But I think he's kind of like there's something off. I know it. You know, there's some people that say they can astral project. I don't, you know, I've read about this and stuff, and there's like methods people can do it, and I've never really had the patience to try doing that kind of stuff. And I'm wondering what exactly it is when you're astral projecting. Is it like a hallucination with your own mind, or are you actually leaving your body? Or are you hallucinating leaving your body? You know. There's certain things that you can do with your mind that are kind of impressive, like when you read about what the Tibetan monks were able to do. You know, the weird thing about that kind of stuff is, I know it's like a practice that they devote themselves to, but when you're born into this world and you devote so much time to kind of meditation or whatever, it feels like you're kind of missing on an opportunity to experience the world that whatever God has gave to you, you know? I've seen some of those the meditation methods, and basically they go out into this like room in the middle of a mountain somewhere for years, and they just like kind of just sit in a box and like meditate, you know. There was this weird documentary I watched about like Tibetan monks, and some of the methods that they do to like meditate, like prepare for meditation, which is very strange. Like, it's supposed to be like kind of like an intimate thing, but the guy was like literally like jumping up in the air and slamming himself down on the ground as like a form of like pre-meditation or whatever. I don't know enough about like astral projection and all that lucid dreaming to really be able to say anything about it. Are we listening to Hex System? Yeah, man. So all the music that you listen to right now is my own music, and that's basically just so I don't get copyright striked. I'm also I'm trying to play my own music just like promotion-wise, but that's the weird thing. The reason why I got into making music in the first place was because I used to make animations a long, long time ago, like as a kid, basically. And you can't just like use music. You can't just like use music without a license in film festivals and that sort of thing. So I was like, oh, why don't I just make music, you know? Back then it was Acid. I was using a software called Acid. I installed it on a school's computers. I think that's now known as Fruity Loops or FL Studio. But in university, I learned how to use Logic, and I don't know if it's just I like using Logic, so now I'm a Logic user. So. And I know a lot of times the reason why I'm making music is because I can't seem to find this certain type of music that I want to listen to, which is more kind of it's more just like relaxing, but not ambient, you know? It's kind of like a mix between ambient and instrumental, and longer tracks too that are range from like 5 to 7 minutes. There is stuff out there like that, you know. I listen to it. I got a playlist on Spotify. I listen to all my favorite music stuff, but I find that there's not enough of it, or not enough good stuff. So I'm just trying to like make stuff that I can't seem to find out there, you know. I mean, I feel like that's what most artists try to do anyway, right? You're making something that doesn't really exist. Like, if you want to, like, as an animator, you don't want to be making something that already exists. You want to make something that you want to see that doesn't exist, and that's what I'm doing with, especially, you know, on YouTube. But I feel like with Safe Mode now, I feel like I want to. This episode that's coming out that I'm working on now is like, I know there's like parts of stuff out there that are similar to it, but it doesn't exist in its current form. So I want to make stuff like this, you know. It's like as an artist, you're creating for yourself first and foremost, really. Oh, see, okay, I also have to fix this because the lines are going the wrong way. Do you have another channel for your music? Alex, I do. It's just called Hex System. Like, it's not, like, I don't really manage it. It's kind of like an automatic channel. My distributor just uploads the tracks to it. But you can find all my music on there. The visualizers and stuff I put on this channel though, because it's more subscribers on it. But I mean, I don't know if it might be detrimental to my channel. I don't know to do that, but whatever. Man, you know the worst thing is about like making music as a creator is all these different like subcategories of like types of music, like this 400 different types of electronic music, right? And I used to, like, back in the day when I used to go on Reddit, like try to post my music when I wasn't making animations to like some of these subreddits, and they're like, oh, this is not like wave pool or like deep house or whatever the fuck kind of subgenre of electronic music was. And it's like, there's a lot of gatekeeping in music, man, and I don't find it to be particularly, you know, I just find a lot of subgenres of music, it's just like, oh, this subgenre basically just means they're gonna sound exactly kind of like this very particular sound, you know. I guess that's the point of it, but at what point does it become not helpful to have that many different subcategories of music, you know? And you know, the whole down tempo as a category is kind of a dumb category because like it just means the music's slow. Like anything, it's just anything below like 100 BPM basically, or is considered, or maybe 80. Was it like 90 or 80? It doesn't matter the instrument apparently. It's just down tempo. Most of my music could be described as down tempo. But man, it's I'm like I used to like kind of be addicted to Reddit back in the day. I'm so fucking happy I don't go on that site anymore. Like that site was a waste of time. Okay, what color is that exactly? Okay, this little thing here. You know what? I may not even see some of this stuff because I have to draw the character sitting in the seat looking towards the slider, but whatever. Marco Pradolvin. How do you quit it? Is you can delete all your accounts and uninstall any sort of like software for it, because using the site not logged in and it's just kind of like a nightmare. So you'll like you won't want to like make a new account. I don't know. That might help. Okay, I was looking for this little clip. But seatbelt is orange. Okay. Molten chocolate. Would you ever do a music stream? I've done, well, the last stream I did was a music stream, but the thing is, I'm not very good at performing live music. Like, I'm not really classically trained on the piano, so a lot of my music is just kind of messing around, and then I clean it up afterwards. So that's why I don't really do the music streams, because I feel like a lot of it doesn't sound very good. You know, you gotta find a hobby or something. Like, if you're finding you're spending too much time on a internet or whatever, you gotta just pick something, choose it, and just try to do it, you know? And preferably something that doesn't use more screens, like, you know, I mean, you could get like an animation, or that's the thing. It's like I got into music and stuff, but I'm still looking at computer screens. It's not that bad because I'm using a keyboard, but hey, Seth Fusion, I appreciate that. The next EP, I don't know when that's gonna be, but it'd probably be like maybe 6 months, because the thing is I make music and I kind of just like save them into a folder, and then when I feel like I have enough stuff, I'll release it. But like some music tracks I work on though, they take me like months to make like one track. I think Jordan Peterson used to be like kind of a lot more chill like 5 years ago. If you ever look at his old videos on his YouTube channel, he used to seem very kind of like relatable, but the stuff that he does these days is very strange. It's like he's like wearing a suit the whole time, and the lighting is like directly above his head, and he's like staring at the camera like this. And I don't know, it's weird. Like I think something happened. I think he just got like all the international pressure or something got to him, and he just kind of, it's made him really bitter, which is a shame because I know that he was not always like that. But I think these pressures affect people in different ways, and I don't think they affected him in a positive way. But who the fuck am I to judge? Okay. Alright, I got my car mostly drawn here. Umamus, you ever seen the Romiski? Rumusi? Rosimi? Rusimisi? I don't know what that is. Oh yeah, the Russian flick Stalker. Yeah, man. I tried watching that like 4 times, and it's very slow, man. I kind of, I have this book here, Tarkovsky's book about cinema, sculpting in time, but I don't know, man. Movies are not for me. Like, I know people like think I'd be into them because of the slow pace of interface and stuff, but he's like slow pace times 10. And yeah, there's some stuff that he does is pretty cool, but I'm not like I'm not really a super fan, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, let's see what else am I missing. Yes, speedometer and stuff. Maybe it's not really important that I do that, but I should probably look up what the speedometer looks like in those Cadillacs. It's probably one of those linear ones that look like a radio. You know what? I'm not even gonna bother because it's too much detail. I do know that the side of this thing should be Roof is green. Oh, it's actually. What I'm missing is those things, sun visors. Pretty sure they're actually in the model, but Slightly better. There we go. Starting to look a little bit better. So I just have to add some scratchy lines on top. Hey Diego, what's going on? Does Smear have an OnlyFans? That's the perfect idea. Alright. Roof. Animated. Ooh. It's responsive. There we go. Now this kind of like halftone thing, I do that in After Effects. Except for the one on the side here. Mammy, can I be a pacifist while still enjoying violent video games and media? You know, I personally believe that violent video games and media, while it may inspire some people to become violent, like copycats and that sort of thing, I feel like it actually probably has a net reduction in violence on people. It's almost like they're getting it out of their system, you know? Video games in particular, because I feel like humans have evolved to be violent just by naturally. That's just how we are. Because through hundreds of thousands of years of like bashing in the skulls of our enemies and stuff, it doesn't really leave our genetics. You know, we can't just like filter that out very easily, and that's why there's still a lot of violence in the world. So if there's a way to get that kind of like done virtually, perhaps it will mellow people out in the real world a little bit, you know? Could just be talking out of my ass, though, I don't really know. FKKNS. Oh, I see. I was trying to figure out how you say your name. Yeah, thanks, man. The kind of techniques I use have gotten a little bit more complicated over the years. Like when I first started, it wasn't really that. There wasn't that much layering involved, you know. But now with safe mode, there's a lot of kind of like animated textures that I use, and now that I know like the best way to apply them, because before, you know, it would take me a while to figure out how to do it, but now like I have like a technique down, like a method, so it's not very time consuming. It's kind of like see like what I'm doing here, where it's like a little messy and stuff. Like it's obviously intentional, but I'm trying to make the world a little bit less precise looking, yet still be precise. Like it's still like there's still perspective and things. Gotta trick Ukraine and Russia into fighting VR. Yeah, man, I mean, that's like... It's not necessarily the soldiers, it's like, you know, it's the people in charge that are making them have this war, but I wonder if it was up to the people, would they actually want to go to war? Probably not. I mean, that's the thing, because I know there's a lot of, like, Russians really like first-person shooter kind of games. Electric State as an art series. I have not seen it, no. Okay, so, there we go. Let's give the steering wheels this very subtle highlight. That's a little nicer looking. There. Okay, so I got like the background of the shot pretty much drawn. I have to draw a character. I guess it's gonna kind of ruin a little bit of the episode because he reveals who's in the car. But it looks pretty good. I'm happy how that looks. Except for this little area. Alright, it's 5 o'clock. Alright, everyone. I think I'm gonna call it quits for today. Molten chocolate, yeah, man. I don't think anyone's plays with the war. It's just ridiculous. Dan Tree, how to animate textures on a 3D object, was trying to figure it out on Maya a while back and had to chuck it and opt for a compliment. Animate textures on a 3D object. Well, I don't know how Maya works exactly, but I use, so you can use like different rendering engines, obviously. I use Autodesk Arnold. This guy named Chris Rutledge turned me on to that, and basically you can, well, with it's pretty much any software does 3D. You can like add a ping file, like a like an animated PNG texture that loops to a texture, and you should be able to just import it like a regular texture and just apply it to an object. But specifically, Autodesk Arnold, it does the kind of outlines like a toon effect. You can do a toon effect very easily. So these kind of like scratchy lines and stuff, I've done those with 3D Autodesk Arnold toon shaders. Basically, you can like take a noise and animate it on a loop and just have it stretched out to a point where it's, you know. Sorry, I'm not explaining it very well, but I'm not really a tutorial kind of guy, you know what I mean? My tutorials would just be me swearing because I'm still like not perfectly good at using my own software, so anyways, alright everyone, that's it for today. Thank you for hanging out, and I hope you all have a good Monday or a good week. I'm going to be working on this episode for the next month and a half probably, and hopefully get that bonus video out for you before then. This next episode is going to be awesome. It's going to be so cool. So that's it everyone. Yeah, Dan, treat like an image sequence, basically an image sequence. You can do, like, I set them up in After Effects and export. Alright, talk to y'all later next time. See ya.
You're watching Umami.